Lord? What up, Lord? You can call me him. I'm Shay Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the chat and shit out to them. Now trying to ball like Big Four, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. When you see that notification, we about to go live. Hit this track and do your dance like you Karen Lace. Bring it back to time, Matthew to the house, baby. It's tingling cold from 7 to 9. We keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9, it's tingling cold. Word up. Let's go. It's tingling cold from 7 to 9. We keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9, it's tingling cold. What up, Lord? What up, Lord? You can call me him. I'm Shay Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the chat and shit out to them. Now trying to ball like Big Four, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. When you see that notification, we about to go.
All right, good morning and welcome back. As look at that time, everybody. What was that, 7:02? Is that what my clock says? 7:02, up and rolling.
Started alive at 7.
Come on.
Watch out.
I mean,
Don't let the kid get hot.
You know who you're messing with?
Back in American time.
Shout out to Lloyd. Finally back on the USA time.
Good old Central Standard
Come on,
Time.
that CST.
Yo, best time zone in America. In the world.
Speaking of time, LSU versus Clemson time announced. 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. It would be 7:30 for them in Clemson, South Carolina, I believe. It'll be 6:30 prime time. We're back to Saturday nights, it looks like. I just realized August 30th was a Saturday, not a Sunday. Because the past, 3 years? All the season openers under Brian Kelly have been on Sunday night standalone games.
Mm-hmm.
And now it seems they're shifting back to Saturday night. Saturday night in the fake Death Valley for LSU and Clemson on 6:30. We'll get into that more. We've got some sound from Jay Johnson as he met with the media yesterday. Had a little press conference to preview South Carolina before they hit the road and head over there to match up with Paul Maneri and his Cox in South Carolina. Exciting series on the way. It's just two highly touted teams, but it is SEC baseball, so we can't joke too much about it. And then what else we got? Obviously, yesterday we let everyone know that discussed a little bit of the LSU Sports Hall of Fame class that's going to be inducted. And we'll dive a little bit more into LSU football as well as the LSU discourse continues on social media. We put out a little video yesterday talking about LSU's schedule, and people were wondering where we came up with the 8-4 record idea from, and it was because the line in Vegas,
degenerate gamblers,
is 8.5. Which, when you really sit down and look at it, which is kind of what happened to us yesterday, it kind of catches you off guard. Because I was replaying it all in my head this morning, driving here, of where do they see this fourth loss coming from? But we'll get into that, obviously. Lloyd, how are you this morning?
Excellent, sir. Excellent.
Good.
There I am.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, glowing this morning.
Yes.
Great to say, great pre-show.
Yeah, we're rocking and rolling this morning. Some memories were made me and my buddies last night. It was like a fever dream. Ran over a raccoon. Caught it on the dash cam, though. Shout out to the dash cam. I decided one day. Yeah. I decided one day when I was in Walmart, I saw one. I was picking something up for work. I think an SD card or something for the camera, something for this. And I saw the dash cam, just one hanging there. And I was like, that'd be kind of cool. I mean, I didn't know it recorded the inside of your car also. Well, it just catches the audio. I didn't realize it got audio either.
It's a dangerous game you're playing.
Dangerous game. Everybody watch your mouth. We're live.
We're going to church.
But yeah, I mean, we ran over a raccoon. We could not figure out what it was. So we hit it, and we were just like, what was that? What was that, an animal, a person? We were freaking out. Now, I didn't really think it was a person because, we were in the country part of town. So we pull into the gas station. We're looking at my car, There's no dent anywhere. There's no blood anywhere. Like, so I'm like, I don't know. Did I hit any? Like, was it a ghost?
Clean.
Like, what happened? And so we finally got back to the crib, and we pulled the SD card out of the dash cam, and we started watching it, and it was a raccoon. Ran right over.
But he had a death wish.
Clean over that raccoon. I mean, he was running straight at the right tire.
15 yards in an ejection.
Like that front passenger tire. He ran straight head on. You know,
he made a choice.
He was ready.
He was, yeah.
But he wasn't in the road. We spun the block, went back around, was not in the road. So I think he survived. Because he was not on the road.
That was a clean kill.
He made it through. I'm telling you, it's a strong raccoon. But so me and Lloyd relived the dash cam footage this morning. But like we said, Jay Johnson, we've got some sound as he met with the media yesterday to preview this weekend as they get started tomorrow night. Speaking of tomorrow night, we will be watch partying the game number 1 between the Tigers and the Gamecocks. We should have the squad in here. The new revamped challenge wheel that we were so excited about 2 weekends ago when LSU was facing Texas A&M. We had worked really hard on it on Wednesday. Like, we were going to make this something awesome. And we got here Friday night, and that game got delayed, obviously. So we didn't get to do it, but we're going to make it happen tomorrow night. You'll get to meet some of the new members of the team, I believe. We've added some different people in some different areas to our squad. They'll be here to join us and watch some LSU baseball tomorrow night. So make sure you put that in your calendars, everybody. We will be live tomorrow night during the LSU baseball versus South Carolina game number 1. Watch Cade Anderson pitch.
Coach did say
He's feeling good.
Said he threw a bullpen and everything is on schedule.
So, seems like it'll be LSU's ace in game number 1 for the Tigers. Obviously, we will also have Jacques Doucet join us at 8 a.m. here on this Wednesday. It's been a while since we've had JD on. Obviously, last week we had some weather issues, and a couple weeks back, it's been really a little minute since JD's joined us. And then we'll obviously close it out at 8:30 with Nick Underhill joining us to talk about the Saints and the new era of the New Orleans Saints as Derek Carr announced his retirement over the weekend, like we talked about on Monday. Nick will join us and break it all down, what it means, how it happened. Because I did see an interesting video yesterday of, I don't remember who it was talking about it, but it was like, people don't just walk away from $30 million. So
I saw the
you think
same
there's something
one.
Under, there's a story. There's got to be something kind of undercover going on, right?
Yeah.
Because when he broke it down the way, I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because in what world has Derek Carr got out of his way to help the Saints, right? And so it wasn't like a final act and an ode of like, sorry for everything I've done, and I've blatantly just highway robbery essentially of the New Orleans Saints. Like, y'all don't like me, that's fine. Here's what, $30 million to make good. No, it felt like that there was some behind the scenes that were, hey, if you think that you're just going to be able to say that you're having surgery and that you're not going to be, and you get this fully guaranteed contract and you're not going to play, I think there's some litigation we can do on our side as well to look into how all this thing broke down. So it'd probably be in your best interest to retire.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
And he can sit out for a year.
Yeah,
and then come back.
I mean,
but not to New Orleans.
No, not
like, I don't think this was nearly as smooth as it may have seemed on the surface level.
Yeah, I mean, it's Saturday. On Saturday, it seemed very clean break, smooth. Everybody
good. Wins,
right? But when you really look at it, Derek Carr, what does Derek Carr really win? I mean, he's having to cough up 30 M's that he was going to be able to sit out and just rake in
out of the goodness of his heart.
Yeah, I mean, it is a nice little PR boost for him if you really don't dive into the ins and outs, but it doesn't exactly click when you really, really think about it. So we'll obviously get into all of that with Nick Underhill when he joins us at 8:30 a.m., Jacques Doucet at 8 a.m. To catch us up on, I guess, his life, because it's been so long since we've talked to him. Like we said, LSU versus Clemson, 6:30 p.m., week number 1, August 30th. That will be one of 3 ranked matchups, I believe, in Week 1, where you have Texas at Ohio State as well, and Alabama and Florida at Florida State is the other ranked matchup. So LSU versus Clemson, the biggest game maybe. Texas at Ohio State probably gets that tab.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, those are the 2 biggest games. Those are going to be 2 top 10 matchups, I would assume, with the way everything's looking ranking-wise right now. Those 2 games I expect to be top 10 matchups. BD, I stay in South Carolina, and these Clemson fans are reckless. Well, you need to be reckless right back at them, brother. You need to make sure you let them hear it.
Yeah, my experience with Clemson fans is only brief. It was in 2019, but I think they knew that this wasn't going to end well for – they were just happy to be there.
Yeah, they weren't talking a lot of mess.
No, there was not a lot of – they were giving away $2 bills, like, oh, this is so much fun, isn't it? And I was like, we're about to slit your throats. Like, this is a business decision. Yeah, like, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, no, yeah, I don't think that – it'll be a good game. Like, maybe.
No, it's not.
No.
I mean, it'll be
good
good
for
first
me.
half.
Yeah, thanks for your $2.
We'll have fun. You can score your 17. You can have fun with
That's
that
what
17-7 lead you have.
There's probably no better feeling in sports than when you can look up like halfway through the year and you're like, I should probably get a national championship ticket if I can find one.
Right.
Like you're making a real, you're making a bet, but it's also that there's a couple of times in your life where you're like, this team is better than any team I've seen. And so if it goes the way I think it will, it'll probably end up in a national championship. And you're like, let's just go ahead and pull the trigger. And same thing for, like we did that for Omaha in 2023. We reserved that spot like before the year. And it was for my buddy's bachelor party, and like we saw 3 games. He's like, they're probably going to Omaha. I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and pull the trigger on that. And that was a huge gamble because nothing else to do if LSU's not there. Like, I'm not really excited to go see Florida play.
No.
I don't want to go see Wake Forest play. I'm not trying to make friends.
Tennessee, pass.
Right. And so, big gamble, but worth it because you see can see a team and you're like, pretty good. Paul Skeens is pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty fun to watch.
Dylan Cruz is pretty good.
Yeah, these guys are Trey Morgan.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you see him in left field yesterday?
What
another play. Dude, he's unbelievable. This catch in left field is crazy. Like, turns his back to it. He's looking over the left shoulder.
Would have been a great wide receiver.
Right shoulder. I mean, the ball tracking is
unbelievable.
It's so impressive. Like, I was like, my jaw kind of dropped when I watched this catch because, like, he's looking over left shoulder, right shoulder, left shoulder, somehow still tracking that baseball in the air and makes the grab. Obviously, he was at first base when he made the last play. This one's in the outfield. But, I mean, this play right here, guys.
Now he's
right shoulder, left.
He gets twisted around, and he made
I mean,
and he doesn't play the outfield.
No. I mean, this is bonkers.
I mean, he's in AAA now. Durham.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's going to be in the pros in no time. Yeah, I mean, you can play him wherever.
Yeah, that's what he's making a case for, is that, like, not only am I a first baseman, but I can also play the outfield. You saw him do it some at LSU, but he was such a weapon at first.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously it's his natural position he's been playing, and that's what people forgot. Was like then whenever this whole conversation about him playing the outfield happened, it's like he's a natural outfielder. It's like he's been playing first base his whole life. That's what he said, not me.
Right.
And so everybody kind of got lost in the shuffle of him playing the outfield.
Right, trying to fit bats in the lineup.
Right. And so, like, natural first baseman, but you can obviously see, like, the ability to track the baseball he's just a defensive wizard.
Yeah, and no, it's unbelievable. And the crazy thing is he's that good on defense and
can swing it.
He can. I mean, he just puts a bat on a ball. You know what I mean? Like he finds a way to get on base so consistently. He is as much as when we talk about 2023 and Cruz and Skeens get a lot of the attention. Trey Morgan is right there in it. So. But yeah, no, I know that feeling when you kind of look up and you're like, okay, this team is this is a little different. We might need to go all in on this.
Yeah.
I saw a video on Twitter this morning of J.D. Piquel put out a clip of Aaron Anderson's touchdown against Texas A&M where he catches it in the middle field and he just darts. And so I think it was
that's when times were good.
Yeah, set it off. Sports was like, to go back to this moment when you thought LSU was about to run through everybody and win the national championship. And it all just went downhill from there.
We were right here sitting in those two seats.
Because, like, when you really think about that moment, You had just beat Ole Miss at home in that electric, emotional victory. You travel to Arkansas and you handle them offensively and defensively. Whit Weeks tips up an interception to himself and then shotguns the football. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And his dad gives the best thumbs up I've ever seen in my life. Like, I can close my eyes and see it to this point.
Real American hero.
I mean, like, his son gets an interception.
Real men of genius.
That is awesome. And then you go into A&M, you're shutting down Connor Weidman, and Aaron Anderson catches a dig route and takes it 76 to the crib.
And it's 17-7.
And you're like, oh my god.
Going into halftime.
What is happening?
Are we good?
I would love to just go back to that point and stop time. Like, just because really in that moment, if we go back probably to that watch party, to halftime, we are probably on cloud 9, I'm sure. Like,
oh, yeah.
And then it just absolutely downhill from there.
It goes, start of the third quarter, Marcel Reed, 8-yard touchdown run, and 8 minutes and 10 seconds left. Marcel Reed, 8-yard touchdown run with 1 minute left in the third quarter. With 14 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Marcel Reed, 4-yard touchdown run. Then LSU touchdown, make it respectable, 23-8. Le'Veon Moss, 3-yard run. But the Marcel Reed really got you.
Yeah, and I mean, that was like interception.
Right in the dick.
Like,
right in the dick.
It was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Probably got real quiet.
And then and then
and then real loud.
Week, well, no, because you're the ultimate optimist, and that's what I love about you, especially when we're on nose, because I go into the deep end so fast where I'm like, oh my, this is over, and you're like, no, I mean, guys,
you had time.
They just saw Reed for the first time. They're gonna adjust. There's no way he scores like that again.
Yeah. This sounds like me.
And then I'm like,
got Blake Baker, got the best defensive coordinator in the country.
Buddy, it's over. Like, we have no chance. And then, like, probably the second interception gets thrown, and I'm like, okay.
You leave the room.
Yeah. I mean.
Can't leave me out here on an island.
Blame me. So.
Still fine. Plenty of time.
But it is crazy how, like, the season can really shift on a dime like that. And when you look at the schedule this year, I mean, you can be pretty confident going into, I don't know, week 5. Like, if you get through, South Carolina, like going into Vanderbilt, if you're undefeated, you're feeling pretty good about yourself, right? Like, what game would it be for you that you're like, okay, book it, this is a national championship contender? Is it a specific point in the season, or is it just the eye test?
For me, it's eye test.
Okay.
Like, when you see it, it just feels a little different. Like,
right.
There's moments in time where you can like, oh, that was a huge win, like LSU Ole Miss, like you just talked about with Texas A&M. But also there's like moments when, like, you can go back to 2019 and like the first drive against Georgia Southern, where it's like, whoa,
that's different.
This is totally different. Like, okay, they're pretty special.
Yeah.
Like, when it looks totally different like that, and then kind of that lead up into the year. I knew some people on the staff that were like, y'all have no idea how good we are.
Yeah.
Like, they don't talk like that often. And it was kind of like, this is totally different. Like, Burrow has been kind of taking charge of this thing. Like, if what I think I'm seeing is right, we're going to be pretty good this year.
We're going to go for right. Yeah.
And then you see it kind of come to fruition, like the first drive of the game. First time LSU gets the ball.
Yeah, no,
it's straight down the field, and it's fast, it's tempo, it's Jamar Chase in the end zone. You're like, what just happened?
And that throw,
yeah,
I will forever remember. In one of the games that you won't remember that much, like the intricacies of it, other than the fact that it looked different, he threads a needle to Jamar Chase on that first touchdown. And I was like, okay.
And everything was
I remember
just
looking
rhythm.
at my dad, I was like, what was that?
Right.
Like, what did I just see? But, I mean, really for you, was it game 2? Was it beating Texas when you were like, okay?
Yeah, and I think, well, even then, I think you're watching that Texas game, and you wanted to get a win. Like, you still don't know how good Texas is or how good LSU is, and it turns out, like, Texas was. But that whole kind of, like, showdown going into it where LSU didn't really back down. Like, Texas tried to bully you, and you were like, no, we'll come out shirtless and drink your water. Like, oh, we got dogs.
Yeah.
Like, dogs.
A little piss and vinegar.
And then the 3rd and 17, obviously, as opposed to when everybody that's ever watched LSU football for the last 20 years thought exactly that. Hand it off They'll
Nah,
punt it
cuz.
and rely on your defense.
RPO.
Yeah, touchdown.
Try that on for size.
And that's what it had to be. Like, yeah, this is totally different. This might be the best team I've ever seen.
Let's see. BD, if we hang 30-plus on Clemson, Ivo, we will know after week 1. So, I mean, yeah, I like when you look at the schedule, I mean, you will know who your team is relatively quickly. Like I've said, like kind of beat a drum the last 2 weeks of you've got 3 tough games in the first month. 4, I mean, if you really want to break it down, South Carolina's right outside of that first month. I mean, those are going to be very good teams. I think if you're undefeated through that first month, you're probably feeling pretty good because you just went like bye week. The first bye week is between LSU at Ole Miss and South Carolina at LSU. The first weekend of October. I think it's October 4th would be that Saturday. If you're undefeated during that bye week and you've beat Clemson, Florida, and Ole Miss, you're probably a top 5 team going into South Carolina, and you're probably feeling quite confident. And I have a feeling that if that's the case, I'll be sitting right here feeling pretty good about what LSU's looking like if that's the case.
I'm just reading some of the chat about that. We took them down the memory lane of Texas A&M. People didn't take it so well. Game turned when Dellinger got hurt from sexual welfare. Glimmer, I blacked out somewhere around that point. Pat Conkle, I was in a bar in Houston watching that game surrounded by Aggies. Yep. I've never gone from so high to so low in my life. I watched the last 8 minutes on my phone walking down the street to my hotel, just straight up pieced out. It's like, I'm not doing this anymore with you.
No, I've been there. When you got to pop that thing on the phone, man.
I'm leaving.
Like, I'm done.
Where's Conkle?
I mean, sometimes you can shift real quick to the radio. Like, that's my favorite thing. Like, I'll dip out early and I'll be like, okay, I'm just going to leave. I'm watching it with my buddies or watching it somewhere. I'm out. I'll listen to Chris Blair call it for the next quarter because I can't put my eyes on. I think the last time I did that was Texas A&M in 2022. BK's first year, that A&M loss. I was all locked in. I mean, you just beat, Alabama, and then you traveled up to Arkansas and you handled them, and it's like, okay, we beat Texas A&M. We're going to the SEC championship game with a chance at a college football playoff. Like, we're like I think LSU was ranked number 6 in the country at that point, like on a high. And I'm like, okay. And then they just get handled by Texas A&M. And I just was in shock. And so I was watching it with my buddies and I left. And I just watched it on the phone. And then I got in the car and I listened to it on the radio because I just couldn't believe it. So that was the last time I did that, but I know that feeling all too well. So, Fat Boy Slim, we will definitely know after week 1 when we see this new defense.
That was the A-Chain game.
Yeah. No, I mean, was it Moose Muhammad?
Yeah.
Kept scoring. It was Connor Weigman, and like the first time you really saw him because they had gone with Haynes King and Max Johnson, and Weigman was a freshman.
Yeah, you're not going to win a lot of games when you have you give up 38 carries for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah, that's tough.
They just turned it and handed it to him every play.
BD.
Then you were like, LSU's no good because they were running it straight at Harold Perkins, and it felt like you got figured out.
Yeah, I mean
that was like, ugh.
That was when they that was the first time to me Perk truly got game planned for.
Mm-hmm.
And when you game planned Perkins out of that game, it was like, okay, that's kind of the defense.
There's the magic.
Yeah, that's kind of gone.
That became the impetus of like do something.
Right.
And everybody, like, because you just kept waiting for him to make a play. Because you've been doing it all year, and now people are still stuck in that mindset.
Well, because you were in such a high the week before against Arkansas. Where it was
won
like,
the game.
Oh my gosh, this is every single. I think we watch partied that one.
We did,
and we were like in awe. Like, did he just strip sack him again?
Again? And all they were talking about was this quarterback from Arkansas and how he
runs a 4.2.
Yeah, he's the anchor on the U.S. Olympic trial team, and he's
gonna be the fastest
lurches
guy on
him
the
down.
Yeah,
you're like, oh god. Then I'm sure Arkansas was like, well, there goes our strategy.
Yeah, 225 hawking you down.
It's like 16 degrees outside, snowing. Nobody can throw it. Everybody's sick, and Perk was sick too. He had the flu. It was Perk's flu game.
It was awesome.
And you couldn't do anything on offense.
It was Matthew Conkle. I keep having dreams of Dabo at a full sprint. They won't stop. Conkle's all in on the Dabo deal. But like we said, Clemson versus LSU, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. from Memorial Stadium in South Carolina. ABC will have the game. That will be the last of a triple header on the network. Tennessee, Syracuse, shout out to Ricky Collins. Alabama, Florida State in the afternoon, and then LSU, Clemson to close it out. This is the fourth meeting between the two schools. LSU is up 3-1. Obviously, the last meeting.
3-4-0.
Yes, definitely. The last meeting, obviously, was the national championship in 2019 with a 42-25 victory. I mean, what was just a dominant performance. And the one loss Lloyd remembers all too well. Mm-hmm. What was it, the Chick-fil-A Bowl?
It was Chick-fil-A or the Peach Bowl, some bullshit like
Taj
that.
Boyd.
Taj Boyd, you're up 21-0.
Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, maybe. I think it might have been both. Taj Boyd, Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins. Was it a field goal at the end of the game?
They concussed DeAndre Hopkins like the first play of the game.
Oh, took him out.
And that didn't seem to matter. Or Sammy Watkins was one of them. But yeah, that was a less special.
The one loss that LSU's taken at the hands of Clemson. So it'll be a big one. Like we've said, it's going to be, as the days tick forward, it's only going to become a bigger deal as the days continue on. So it's going to be exciting. Like we said, speaking of South Carolina, LSU heads there this weekend, LSU baseball that is. And we've got some sound from Jay Johnson as he previews the Gamecocks and what's going to be the final regular season series for LSU baseball. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, this weekend, getting ready for the SEC tournament and Hoover next week. LSU obviously is ranked number 1 in the country. Looking forward to the final week of the season. And Jay Johnson sat down with the media yesterday. Our guest stood up. He doesn't really sit down. And first of all, did you watch any of the presser? I did. Because did you see the start of it when he first walked in?
Bizarre.
And it was like, I don't know who said it, so I'm not trying to diss anybody. But there was a comment made on Jay not smiling or something.
He's like, you're usually happier when you walk in here. And he's like, what?
I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to ruin everybody's mood. I was like, oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Like, as much as Jay kind of, like, laughed and played it off, I was like, oh, no. Like this.
Great start. And then they just waited, and then it was South Carolina?
Yep. I mean,
like, right to it. And then he goes back and he goes into robot mode.
At that point, that's all you could say was South Carolina. So here is Jay
This is it.
talking about the South Carolina team and the series this weekend.
South Carolina.
Yeah, excited to get on the road. I think it's one of the best ballparks in the conference. Love playing there, and good opportunity for our team after 3 of the last 4 at home, and did a good job. Obviously, winning 3 top 12 RPI series. Excited to get back on the road and looking forward to playing there in that ballpark. And as far as their team, ton of talent, in my opinion. So good challenge. Jake McCoy, really good left-hander, up to 96. Ethan Petrie, who had played in the last couple of weeks, I'd assume he'll play this weekend. One of the best hitters in the conference. So another life in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, as much as South Carolina is not the most imposing team from a record standpoint, or really from the eye test either, it's still SEC baseball, and this is a team that you beat in emotional fashion last season in the SEC tournament, and I'm sure they have some returning guys that probably remember that. This is a Braswell taking on his old team as well, Paul Maneri versus LSU. There's a couple storylines you could pepper in there, but LSU's the better team and should handle business, but it still is SEC baseball. They did bring up Paul Maneri a good bit at the start of the press conference on just kind of the dynamic there, and Jay didn't play too much into it, obviously. But he did talk about the changing of the game over the last 4 seasons as Jay's been at LSU and Paul has kind of been away from the sport. So this is Jay talking about the development of college baseball over that span.
On the field. Yeah, I think the first things that jump to mind is, and I'm sure it's always been the best league. I can't speak to it because I've only been here the last 4 years now. I think the talent concentration is incredibly high in the SEC. And I think the transfer portal is the reason that is the case. And then the contraction of the minor leagues, less players are going to professional baseball earlier, and Jared Jones hit 28 home runs and was draft eligible, and we got him back this year as a kind of the best example of that. So I think the talent concentration, which I think started around COVID, where other leagues kind of slowed down and the SEC did not. I've talked about this before. Like being at Arizona, you could feel like more West Coast kids were starting to fly over the top of us. That I didn't like that at all. And so you could kind of see it coming, if you will. And I just think the perfect storm of less opportunities in pro baseball, the SEC kept pushing. And they've made a great commitment to baseball. 16 teams that are all pretty good, as evidenced by last weekend. So I think the nature of experience, nature of maturity, quality of play has probably gone up a little bit. But in 2021, we played Ole Miss in the Super Regional and we played Vanderbilt in the first game of the College World Series, and those teams were really good too. So in that context, I don't know. The dynamic off the field, as you mentioned, has certainly changed.
I don't think the sport is all that different, but I definitely think the talent and the buy-in around the sport has been raised. This is the most watched I can remember college baseball being from a national perspective. Like, people are tuning in consistently. Andrew Messina makes a good point in the chat with Petrie returning for South Carolina. That's obviously something to pay attention to because he's a very good baseball player. He obviously in his...
I feel like he's been there forever.
I know. In 2023 at South Carolina, he had 75 RBI, 23 home runs. Last year at South Carolina, 21 home runs. He's got 10 on the year right now. He will be back at it this weekend. He's a dangerous guy at the plate, obviously, and it's something to keep an eye on because he's been out the last couple of weekends, I believe, and he's returning right in time for LSU and the SEC tournament. So it's obviously something to keep your eye on. But the one thing from LSU's case that you feel confident in is the starting pitching going into this weekend. And this is Jay talking about Anthony Ianson, who has just been beyond impressive. I saw SEC Baseball on Twitter, and Mic'd Up, Jack retweeted it and called them out. And it was because he put out like the end of the season awards and different guys that were up for the different things. And obviously Curiel was in the mix for Freshman of the Year when I think obviously he should 1,000% win. The discourse around him and the Texas closer, I just don't get how you give a closer the nod against an everyday player, the leadoff hitter for the second best hitting team in the SEC from a standings perspective. But I digress. Anthony Ianson was not included in SEC Pitcher of the Year, and when you look at the numbers, his are very much comparable to the guys that are on that list because he has been absolutely lights out since conference play has started, and he has really upped his play as the competition's gotten bigger, and I'm excited to see him take the bump again this weekend. So here's Jay. Do you have that graphic? Some of the numbers for Ianson are right there with these guys that are on this list, where I don't see how he could not be in contention for SEC Pitcher of the Year. He has upped his play in conference play, and the numbers are right there with both of these guys that are on this list. And he's just been special, beyond special. And these are the two guys. Doyle, obviously. Kyson Witherspoon is the other. Their numbers are great. I'm not denying that. But Anthony Ianson is right there with them. Let me pull up his SEC stats.
Ianson stats right now.
Awesome.
So for the SEC plays, they're in 50 1/3.
Yep.
Innings pitch, 2.86 ERA, 81 strikeouts to 22 walks.
So he's got the best the second best ERA. Doyle's a .04 below him.
Yes.
He's got the most strikeouts.
Yes.
How many walks does he have?
22.
So, I mean, he's a little bit more on the walk range. What was the opponent batting average?
Didn't have none of that.
Doesn't have that.
listed.
Okay.
But like
It's right there with him.
Yeah, there's no reason. I mean, you could, and it's also like you could put Kate Anderson on this.
Of course.
There's a race. I don't understand how it's just two guys. But if you're LSU, I don't think these awards matter to these people. Like at the end of the day, you're talking,
there's one specific trophy you're looking for.
right? And you have these are two guys on two different teams. You have two guys on the same team.
Yeah.
You have like the national conversation is starting to happen and heat up around. Does LSU have two aces? Because it's starting to get the more and more Anthony Ianson, and the script is totally flipped on Ianson.
Yes.
Like from just even like a fan base perspective,
what
that they didn't want him to pitch. They didn't want put him in the bullpen. He's not
Move him to
he's not a
Sunday.
starter. You can't. Yeah, he shouldn't pitch on Saturday. Like, what do you do with Anthony Ianson? Like, let him keep throwing. Because if you saw it, you saw how the stuff plays, and I don't know how this happened or why the narrative got negative, but I'm glad it's flipped because you have two legitimate aces in Kate Anderson and Anthony Ianson.
Yes. I mean, two, and not even just two aces, two of the best aces in the country. Not even just aces on your staff, comparable to everyone else out there. They're just as good as whoever you've got. So here's Jay talking about his game two ace, Anthony Ianson.
He's the best. Literally, and I mean that in just such a admiring term of. Here's what I know: you have a great athlete, you have a great competitor, this guy that's got great feel for pitching, and this is what I've seen him do: start fast, let us settle into the game so the team plays better. I've seen him. He is the best pitcher I've ever had at getting himself out of jams. Number one. And, so much so, he throws 6 shutout innings, and you almost forget, he left the bases loaded in the it was the third inning. And then they had 2 more on at another time. And then he's also one of the best I've ever had at getting better as the game goes along. That's 3 pretty good qualities to have as a starting pitcher, on top of all of his physical ability. And the makeup thing is just as you're going through it and recruiting, and you can see the metrics, you can see the strikes, you can see the spin, you can see the velocity. And then literally the first phone conversation I had with him, I was like, I think this guy's got the it piece of it. And then on the visit, it's we have to get this guy. He has to be here. And thank God he is.
And thank God he is. It seems like one of the kind of attributes we've talked about a lot at LSU, just in general, is when you talk about Joe Burrow, and I'm not comparing athletes here, but Joe Burrow, we talked about this quality of him where his heart rate and his blood pressure doesn't raise. It doesn't get higher. He's cool, he's calm, he's collected. And I get that same vibe from Anthony Ianson. And like I said, not comparing Ianson to Burrow, but just similar in the attribute standpoint of, it seems like he's all he doesn't feel the pressure. When Jay's talking about he feels so comfortable with him getting out of the jam, it's because he's just so consistent and he's steady as the day is long. And I've been impressed with Ianson, especially in those situations where the bases are loaded and he just seems to be not shaken at all.
Mm-mm.
And it's beyond impressive when you see him out there.
Because Jay is right. You can go back and probably look at a ton of, I wonder what the numbers are whenever Anthony Ianson pitches and it's runners left on base, runners left in scoring position without getting any runs.
Right.
Because there are times whenever he is in a pinch and you're kind of is he going to wiggle out of it again? And he can be second and third, 1 out. And certainly you're giving something up, and it'll go back-to-back strikeouts, get you out of it. You're oh,
right.
Good Lord. Okay, that's stress-free. And whenever you have that, it kind of keeps you engaged in the baseball game.
Yeah.
And kind of puts a little bit of impetus on the offense, all right, let's get a couple here. And that's what all seems to kind of work together because, it's a tale as old as time in baseball. I used to really, really watch the Cubs. And whenever they had John Lester and he was in, ace,
yeah,
he couldn't score any runs. Every time he'd go out there, it felt he'll do it. And when you have a legit ace, like on Friday nights, obviously you're facing their best guy, but it feels like you don't ever get as much run support as it feels like you should. There's always like the bigger inning or the bigger run scored in a different game. Like, I wish you could do that for X and get him some wins. But for LSU, like with the Ianson goes to pitch, it does feel like he puts them in a spot where, all right, if he gets out of this, then it's go time. It's like now LSU's up 2-0, 3-0. And you're like, okay. Then he settles in, and then we look up, it's the 6th, or you're going into the 7th inning, and he's got 12 strikeouts and
balling,
gave up a run, and you're like, wow. Or he's shutty.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Well, that's the crazy thing now at this point, because we've talked about his ability, and Jay talked about it in that clip as well, where he's getting better as the game goes on. We used to talk about that because he was giving up 2 or 3 or 4 earlier in the game.
Yeah, everybody was it Nebraska?
Right, he gave up 5 at the
Right.
start of that game. He got comfortable up, and his best pitches were in the 5th and 6th inning. Now he's not giving up those runs, and he's still getting better as the game continues, and that's why he's been as dominant as he has as of late. And I don't see that, knock on wood, ending anytime soon, because he's been like Jay said, and we've alluded to, he is cool, calm, collected, and Seville says in the chat he's a killer, man. My favorite clip of him this season was Texas A&M game 2, where he throws the CG and he strikes that last guy out, and he looks straight at the fan base, and it's
and you haven't really seen him do anything.
No, and I about jumped out of my seat when I saw him do that, because it fired me right up. Like, y'all been chirping all day long. I just shut y'all out for an entire game, or get 1 run or whatever. But I just went CG and took y'all out 2-1, and it was impressive, and it fired me up. So this will be the final clip of Jay as he talks about the team as a whole and their development over this season, and just kind of who they are going into the SEC tournament.
Sorry, I was looking at a stat
No
because
worries.
they were talking about SEC individual pitcher wins. Liam Doyle with 9, Witherspoon with 9, Anthony Ianson with 8. So
He's right there.
You can talk about, to keep putting the stats up, and he keeps comparing to the best pitchers in the country.
Yeah, and that's
certainly
your
the best in
game.
the
That's your
SEC.
game too.
And we're not gonna put him on a list.
I wouldn't use the word concern. I just like the panic, concern. I don't really operate in that. I think I would say newness again, but at the same time, we're not a young team. We have a lot of college baseball underneath our belt. We didn't have a lot of LSU baseball playing together under our belt, with only 12 guys that had played in a game last season. And then, I think we ended up with 10 guys out of the portal, 3 or 4 JC guys, 10 high school players. I mean, it was a real blend of a roster. And so doing what we do in process of building the team, not personnel-wise, but building the team, the tough and together dynamic of this thing, we just knew we had to be really deliberate about that, and I would give them the highest marks. And I think it's why we've been able to withstand the schedule in a very consistent manner. And, I'm really proud of them for that, and it gives me optimism about what they can accomplish, because we've seen a lot. There's not a lot we won't see, or that we will see that we have not seen yet in terms of success and adversity. Like, I don't know that I've ever won 17 games in a row. I maybe, but I off the top of my head, like, they did that, like I said, to go 3 of the last 4 weeks, you get a series win against Alabama, series win against Tennessee, series win against Arkansas. Like, that's impressive, and I feel like I'm answering questions about why we're not good sometimes, and that's it still seems.
That drop the mic right there, like that. That's Jay kind of addressing some of the discourse around the team of, it might not look the way you expect it to look, but we took 2 out of 3 against Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, 3 top 12 RPI teams. Arkansas and Tennessee were both ranked number 1 for a considerable period of time this season. Arkansas was viewed as the best team in the country coming into the weekend.
Even after the series, people were still of the opinion that I still think Arkansas is the most complete team in the country.
Right. And they just lost, and you just handled them. You know, I mean, you look at game 2 of that Arkansas. I mean, you dominated. You run ruled them. Like, I mean, you walked it off on a strikeout. You know, and so I mean, I'm glad Jay kind of addressed it at that point, and because I mean, as much as you can have concern, because there are times where I have concern, like they're still not as good as they should be at getting runs across, but they're doing it well enough that they're winning baseball games. You know, they're beating Tennessee. They're taking care of business against Alabama and Arkansas. Now, would I like to see them do it on the road a little bit better? And, you know, when you look at Auburn and A&M, those kind of stand out. If you're going on the road and you get swept by
Texas.
Auburn, Texas as well. But, I mean, Texas, you should win that series. Like, the reason you lost the series to Texas in Game 2 is because the bullpen crumbled. I mean, you had enough runs to win that game in Game 2. And
people still have not gotten off of that. That's when the whole narrative started about you don't have a bullpen. And that's when people start painting narratives. They tend to stick to it. Like, you've seen it once. Like, oh, I've seen this 1,000 times now. And LSU is not – I mean, you've seen versions of – like they're always – you get compared to the 2023 team. Before that, it was the 2009 team. And it's like you always compare to past champions. But LSU is not as complete as those teams, but it's hard to be as complete as the national championship team. And you can win it in different ways. And for Jay to stand there, we're basically in playoff baseball now. It's the last regular season series, and it's the last series of the SEC before an SEC championship, and he's still up here going, what am I answering questions?
We're the number 1 team in the country.
We're not good? Seriously, what's the fucking problem here?
Yeah.
Like that, and at some point, like that's when you have to look at collectively as the LSU baseball fan base. It's just like, what's good enough?
No, I mean I remember the Mississippi State series in 23 that you lost. I'm trying to remember. There was one series in SEC play because they kind of sputtered as down the stretch. And
well, even before that, going into every series, it was they would take 2 of 3, take 2 of 3, take 2 of 3, win every series. Like, why can't y'all sweep?
Yeah.
And it's like, shut the fuck up.
And then we look back.
Yeah.
Is that the greatest college baseball team ever?
And even with that, you had to play every single game that was on the schedule. You went to the last game that can be played, but one of the best college baseball teams maybe ever. And it still
came out of the loser bracket.
Yeah, you had to play every baseball game.
Yeah,
and it shows how good you are to come out the loser bracket. But even you still was a rubber match, winner take all, and you're like, well, I still like our chances if you're LSU. But it wasn't like this dominant run like you saw for 2019 LSU football, where it's like, oh, you can go back and look at the playoff stretch. It's like, Jesus Christ, they're blowing everybody out.
Yeah,
and this was like, no, baseball's a little bit different. It's harder to win it. And so even with a team like that, it sometimes will come down to the final game of the season. So you have to know what you're watching.
Yes, and I mean, I do understand, there are things where I understand the concern. Like the offense, I get it because I'm in a similar position. Like as much as I know they are a good offense, they have all the potential in the world. They have all the talent in the world from that perspective. You've been winning games because of your pitching, but you're showing that you can. Like the offense hasn't clicked yet. I think they will. And when you get into Omaha, you know how that park plays. Like if that's the goal for this team. I mean, you have some of the best pitching in the country, and you've won games in there without that. And so that's what the goal is.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's hard to win. And the same things that you point to are like, oh, LSU can't get hits with runners in scoring position. Yeah, when they lose, that's how you lose baseball games. You don't score runs. And it's going to happen. It's not like this formulaic thing where, oh, well, this is what you have to do with runners on second and third and 2 outs. Like, yeah, get a hit. Yeah. It comes down to moments in time in baseball where it's pitching, defense, and timely hitting. All you can ask for from an offense is to continually put yourself in that position.
Yes.
And keep putting runners in scoring position, keep putting people on base, keep putting pressure. At some point, it'll break through. And when you lose, it doesn't.
And ultimately, win baseball games.
Because LSU doesn't necessarily, there's not a lot of games you can point back to and say they beat themselves. They're one of the most fundamentally good baseball teams. They don't make a lot of base running errors. They're aggressive, but they don't make a lot of errors on the base pass. They don't make rarely any defensive. Defense is so good that you forget about how when you watch other teams play, oh, that does happen to teams where They'll drop a foul ball. There'll be a pass ball. There'll be plays that shouldn't be made that are made for LSU, like the amount of double plays that they turned that shouldn't have been turned. Like that, you don't forget what you're watching.
Yeah, catches in center field that probably shouldn't be catches.
Right, they're playing Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
On defense. You have Stanfield and Curiel and Jared Jones playing first, and oh god, he played third.
Yeah, and I mean that was rough experiment, but
Hey, trying to get some bats in the lineup, shake things up.
Yeah, amen. But
still should have been Jake Brown.
Yes, don't forget we've Jock Doucet of WFB9, the sports director himself, joining us in about 9 minutes at 8 a.m. and he will be followed by Nick Underhill from New Orleans Football, breaking down kind of where the Saints are at right now, all up in the news wire. Who's going to be the quarterback? Is it Spencer Rattler? Is it Tyler Shuck? I have a feeling it'll probably be Shuck. But we'll have Nick Underhill join us as well, and we'll catch up with JD in about 9 minutes as he joins the show for the first time in a while. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us this morning. Don't forget that we've got about, 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, until we will be over to the Tingle & Co. channel. So don't forget to like and subscribe over there, to be ready for when the transition happens and the change occurs. We don't want y'all to lose us. So be ready and follow us on everything. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's the link tree right there. It's got everything on there. Make sure you follow on the Facebook. Working to get that Facebook page into the algorithm. So make sure you go over there, share some of the posts. What you got?
Well, Facebook is awesome.
It is.
Did you see that Ron Williams turned down $216 million from Texas?
How about that? No, he didn't.
I don't venture into Facebook ever.
It's unbelievable.
And to see that it's going exactly direction maybe everybody thought it was going to go once it was – what a rise and fall to see how social media can project.
Yes.
Where it was the coolest thing that you could ever have. Only college kids could have it. You had to have a college email address. To then the olds found it, and everybody found it. Then the olds took grasp of it and never let go.
Well, because for
family.
Yeah, I mean,
it's family.
It's unbelievable, man.
And then you have people that are old, and then the internet happens to them. They have no clue that the internet's happening, right in front of their face.
Whoa, what?
Yeah,
really? Wow.
Trump bought the Vatican. No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
But
no, it is unbelievable.
People will believe it.
It's unbelievable.
Then they'll repost what's going on in this country.
What's happening? This is unbelievable. It's awesome. So make sure you're following us on Facebook because we're gonna try to get in the mix with that.
Yeah. Let me write articles.
But yeah, there's the link tree right there in the chat. Hit that. Go subscribe, follow, like everything. Be ready for the transfer over in June. Is when we'll be starting. June 2nd is the start date. That's when we will be live from 7 to 9 over on the Tingle & Co. channel. Appreciate everybody that's made the jump over there and subscribed. We've gone up a considerable amount over the last week, really. I think it was plus 200 and something subscribers in the last 7 days. For everybody that wants an update, we are at 9,108. So make sure you're ready. All the content's coming out over there. Make sure you share the page, subscribe, and follow. We're going to take a quick break here and get hour 2 underway with the legend himself, WFB9's sports director, Jacques Doucet.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by Hebert's Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, Hebert's Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. Hebert's can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. Hebert's Lawn Maintenance.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Well, the Oscar Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
48 Insurance Agency, established in 1946, helping you with your home, auto, commercial, life and health insurance needs. Around in Baton Rouge at 4275 Government Street and online at 48agency.com. Whatever insurance you're in the market for, home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health, get in touch with 48 Insurance Agency, 48agency.com, or give them a call at 225-383-0682. 48 Agency.
Get Gordon. And get it done. Yeah, everybody know Gordon in a 225. And he done link with Big Four. He got buku ties, Ferrari sliding, flying in a new coupe ride. And every time I ride by, I see a brand new sign. I'm a Gordon, I know that he gon' get it done. Whether it's a big truck crash or a hit and run, recovery funds, he fighting to get a ton. Mike Epps, man, we all about the Benjamin. Handling injuries, man, are you kidding me? Gordon McKernan, that's champion energy. Yeah, family man with a family plan. Get Gordon, he gon' fix it like a handyman. Get Gordon, and get it done.
Welcome to Trifecta.
Trifecta Sports Therapy in Baton Rouge. Recover, repair, restore. At Trifecta, they believe in total body wellness. Trifecta gets the body back to its full potential. Whether you're a youth or pro athlete, a pre or postnatal mom, or if you lead an active lifestyle or a senior citizen, Trifecta has the class, the sports massage, the sports therapist, the stretch therapist, or the equipment like infrared sauna, cold plunges, and golf simulators to find your best. Find Trifecta online at trifectasportstherapy.com or check out the beautiful facility today, 8221 Goodwood. Trifecta Sports Therapy.
Hey, Tiger fans, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit us, Tom and Wright Granning, at Go Mart on the Go Deli.
Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip.
Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on your left.
Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff,
where everyone is family.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Hey, Chino. Cut my headphones up, bro. Yeah, right there. Now I'm focused on getting deposits.
All right, welcome back as hour number 2 is underway this morning here on this Wednesday. We're making it rolling right through the final regular season week of college baseball. We're linking back up with an old friend that we haven't seen in quite a while as Jacques Doucet joins us this morning. JD, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. I think old is appropriate. It's in the bags under my eyes this morning here. So good to be with you guys.
You're always so hard on yourself. You're great.
You said it. It was my Beavis and Butthead kicked in there for a second. You said hard on. Sorry about that. Only on this show can I say that kind of stuff.
Amen.
Right?
That's right. That's why you're here.
That's why we have you every single week.
I keep it rated G.
We appreciate you joining us this morning. How have you been? What's been going on over there in the time it's been since we haven't seen you?
Well, it's an exciting time of year. We kind of call it bat and ball season right now, where everything kind of shifts to LSU baseball, LSU softball, Southern baseball. You're on your stretch run of the regular season for LSU baseball, obviously playing Pulmonary in South Carolina this weekend. I guess a lot of storylines there. And then into the SEC tournament next week. And then a week from Monday, it'll be Memorial Day, and the brackets will go out for the NCAA tournament, which is always an exciting day when everyone gets their assignments and we see, if LSU's a top 8 national seed and see who they got to play and how many state teams get in and all that. It's always a lot of fun. And then your march towards Omaha, Nebraska. So, the softball team this weekend, they've got a tough regional. I don't think they were very celebratory on the assignment they got. Getting probably the top 4 seed in the country in the Southeastern Lions from down the road coming into Baton Rouge. I looked it up. The 2 teams played on February the 9th, and Southeastern had a 2-0 lead in the 6th inning, which in softball they play 7, obviously. So they had a lead very late in the game. LSU had to rally to win that one 3-2. And then they're sending Nebraska here as well. I don't think they were thrilled about getting Nebraska and their star player, who's not only a great pitcher but hitter as well. So they've got a real tough assignment. And John Eads will be driving back and forth from Baton Rouge to Sulphur. We have a number of high school baseball teams that are playing for state championships this week, and it's a new format because they're going to best of 3, no longer a championship game. So you've got Catholic High. You got Live Oak. You got U High. There's somebody I'm forgetting off the top of my head. We have a number of teams over there that are playing this week for state titles, and John will be doing his best to cover those. So that's a little bit of what we've got going on at Channel 9.
Yeah, and this weekend LSU reunites with an old friend as they head to South Carolina and they take on Pulmonary and his Gamecocks. What are your expectations and thoughts on this weekend? And I think the chat wants a Pulmonary impersonation in this explanation.
Yeah, I figured that was mandatory this morning.
You think so?
I do my impression, and Coach would say, Jacques, you're a stinker when you do that.
A northern insult.
Real quick, I've covered a lot of people at LSU. Coach Maneri, by far, is one of my favorites. He is so great to the media. If he'd miss a call or whatever, he'd apologize when he'd call you back. I think he basically did every charity event for Red Rock and Blue or whatever I ever asked him to do. And that includes, in 2009, Red Rock and Blue was just getting going, and we were just starting to raise money for charity. And this was so nervy on my part. I would never ask somebody to do that these days, but when you're young, you're stupid. And so we were playing the tournament in Karen Crow at Pelican Park, and I had asked him way back when, hey, will you come throw out the first pitch for this event? And he agreed to do it. Well, things moved down the line, and LSU wins the national championship, and it's on that Tuesday, Wednesday. They're in Omaha, and the tournament that we're doing is the following Saturday. So I was like, well, he's way too busy. He's not. I don't expect him to do this. And he calls me like on the Thursday and says, Jacques, what time do I need to be there and everything? And drives all the way to Karen Crow and back, which is 2 hours plus in driving, gets a speeding ticket on the way over there. I said, it must have been one of those jealous raging Cajun fans that pulled you over. I don't know how they could, you get a speeding ticket right out. You drive to a charity event after winning the national championship, but he did that for me. So anyway, I just want to say that, I've always loved Coach Mainieri and covering him. His teams, he had a ton of tremendous teams at LSU, 7 straight years. I think they were a top 8 national seed or something like that. Had some bad luck in 2017 to not win the national title. So if they win 2 titles, I think it's his legacy is viewed a little bit differently. But he's in a bad situation there at South Carolina. I looked up. There were, I think, 3 games in which they got beat. They've been beat 17-0, 24-2. They've had some really lopsided losses. The team has lost 6 straight SEC games. They're 5-22 in the conference, and they're number 74 in the RPI. So I know a lot of people over there aren't happy. I mean, do they hit the eject button on Coach Mainieri after 1 year? I don't know. But in today's modern system of NIL and transfer portal and all that, I just kind of wonder, does it matter if you're a Hall of Fame coach or not? Because if you don't have the talent, it doesn't matter how good a coach you're going to be. Chances are you can't squeeze the blood out of the turnip. So, one of my favorite Mainieri stories is in 2010, LSU got sent to UCLA for the NCAA tournament. And you've never seen, if you want to know, we cover LSU baseball all the time. We know how great it is, but sometimes you need to go somewhere else to see how great LSU baseball is. And so UCLA is hosting the regional, and they had practices where fans can watch. Well, UCLA, the home team's practicing. There's not a single person in the stands watching them. Not a mom, a dad, a girlfriend, nothing. The stands are completely empty. Like when LSU does their practice, there might be 500, 1,000 people in there watching them practice. So I'm trying to beat deadline. I'm flying across the country. We land. I get a taxi because there's no Uber at the time. The taxi, he's never heard of Jackie Robinson Stadium. I could have asked him. I could have asked him to take me to the moon. Well, Jackie Robinson Stadium. I'm like, yeah, UCLA baseball plays there. I don't know where that's at. Anyway, so we finally get there, like, after an hour or whatever, and I get into the park, and Mainieri says, hey, Jacques, did you find the park okay? I said, yeah. I said, besides the fact it was an $85 cab ride. He goes, well, it's too bad you spent $85 on the cab ride. You could have bought this park instead. So it was not an impressive place. I mean, you think California and, UCLA and glamour and all that. It was like, I think Parkview Baptist has a nicer stadium. It's like with palm trees and whatnot. So, the game was like on page 10 of the sports page. No picture, no photo, just a little write-up on UCLA beating LSU. And so there was a farmer's market over the left field wall. People were selling fruits and vegetables. It was almost like this baseball game was getting in their way. So – it's another world, I tell you.
From your, not to put you on the spot, but in your memory, obviously Nick Saban is the one that comes to mind, but LSU's facing a former head coach in Paul Mainieri this weekend. They did that for years, playing Nick Saban when he's at Alabama. Are there any other times where this has been a situation for the Tigers in really any sport?
Let's see. I don't think LSU has played Texas Southern since Johnny Jones went over there. I know LSU had the flip of that when Yvette Girard built the Cajun softball program into a national power and was viewed by a lot of people in Lafayette as a traitor because she took the LSU job. And every time LSU played the Cajuns, it was from their perspective, this coach left us, and there was always that kind of animosity there. In other sports, I don't think LSU ever played Smoke Lavelle when he was at North Florida. Never played Trent Johnson since he left in basketball. Didn't play Will Wade. No, not off the top of my head. I mean, the old timers will tell you about Paul Dietzel left LSU and went to South Carolina, I believe, and played him and beat him pretty bad. LSU obviously didn't play Les Miles when he was at Kansas. So well, I guess, it doesn't stimulate Pat Henry left LSU track and field after building a dynasty. Mm-hmm. And, they've gone up against him in track and field meets, but obviously that's not the energy and the animosity or the whatever that you get in other sports. So no, I think it's fairly unique.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that his team is struggling so badly and whatnot won't make it maybe the storyline that it could have been. And the fact that everybody gets into the SEC tournament now, a lot of times a team like South Carolina, they might have been out of it altogether. But before the season started, I thought, well, they might be fighting to get into the NCAA tournament or for their seeding or whatever in the conference tournament. But I don't think that's there either. So, and that's a whole other subject too. It'd be interesting. I'm interested to see next week what the attendance at the SEC tournament is going to be when you're going to a single elimination format. I don't know how many people will say, hey, let's go to Hoover when you're only guaranteed one game. I think that's kind of, I'm not a huge fan of that. If you're in a double elimination, at least at least we get 2 games. And if you win the first one, you're going to get 3. So, at least you can say, hey, let's go stay 3 nights and we'll see at least 2 games. In this format, I'm not sure how many people are going to spend money to go to Hoover, especially with the NCAA tournament on the horizon and people saving money to hopefully go to Omaha.
Right. That was, I don't know why they did. I guess they had to after you allowed every team to get in, but it does feel like it's lost a little bit of its, even for somebody like if we have to work and cover it, it still feels like I'm going to turn around and I might be there one day, because you saw what LSU did in 2023 where they didn't even take the tournament seriously. They were trying to get ready for regional, super regional. But I do have a question going back to the Paul thing. Do you think that the way that he, I guess, kind of left LSU and retired and then takes a job at South Carolina, do you think that he thought that there was still more in the tank, obviously? And do you think this means a little bit more to him than maybe it does that would probably meet the eye? Because to everybody it feels like, oh, that's a great story. Paul Mainieri going back, playing against LSU. He won a national championship there. It's all good vibes. I think that he probably wants to shove it up LSU and so I can still do this.
Well, I was chatting with Doug Thompson and Chris Blair yesterday, and I said, you remember when they rebooted the Rocky franchise back in 2006? The movie was called Rocky Balboa, and it was a much better movie than most people expected. And I think he said, yeah, I got something left in the basement. I got a little something in the basement, And so I said, do you think Coach Mainieri's got a little left in the basement? It is staggering to look at footage of him when he retired. He looked terrible. He had lost a bunch of weight. He was all gaunt. He had the neck thing going on, and I think that no matter who you are, after you coach a decade or more at LSU, even if it would have been Nick Saban, some people just get tired of looking at you, and it just gets a little stale. And even Steve Spurrier, when he was at Florida, people started telling him, we're tired of going 10-2. So I think that it had run out of gas at the end. I think that his first, I take away 07 because I don't think Skip Bertman or anybody is taking that team far, the team he inherited in 07. If you go from 08 to 2017, those 10 years he coached, they went to Omaha 5 times. He was a national champion and a national runner-up. In modern-day baseball, I think that's just about as good as you can do. I don't think you can have a whole lot of complaints. And if Eric Walker doesn't get hurt in 2017, or if LSU can win at least one of the 2 first games against Florida in the National Championship Series, they got Alex Lane going in Game 3. Florida's got nobody, and LSU probably wins the title. But that's a lot of what-ifs there. So I think towards the end, it had gotten stale. I do think that it might have been tough for him to watch Jay Johnson win the national championship in just his second year, when almost all the players, to an extent, were guys that he and Nolan Cain recruited. And, honestly, Coach Mainieri, when he was in Omaha, when LSU was winning the title in 2023, he was there, and a lot of fans came up to him, very popular and still very popular. And I think the way he treats people has a lot to do with that. But he made a point to tell us a few times that, look, 9 of the 10 guys in the lineup today were recruited by Coach Cain and myself. And, I think, do I think that LSU would have won a national title if Mainieri would have continued to be the coach? I don't think so. But, because they got Paul Skeens and Tommy White, and it would have been interesting to see how Coach Mainieri would have handled all this transfer portal and NIL stuff if he remained the coach at LSU. I think, and I'm complimenting him by saying this, I don't think he would have liked those things, or I don't think he's liking those things. And, we talk about yesterday, I was talking to Doug about it. I'm like, there's no way in today's modern time could you ask players to paint the fence or go down to the corner and hand out schedules and, ask players to do things that honestly I think are good for them to do, not in today's modern time. So I think that, he played golf for a couple of years and had a couple of hole-in-ones, but he was a young 63 or whatever he was when he got out. People are aging differently than they used to. Skip Bertman, I think, was 62, 63 when he got out. Dale Brown, 62, 63 when he got out. They just look different, than they, Archie Bunker was like 45 when he was on that show. It's like, it looked like he was in his 60s or 70s. Bill Arnsparger, for those who remember back in the late 80s, he was like in his 50s coaching LSU. He looked like he was 70 or 80. So people are aging differently. And I do think that there was kind of some unresolved stuff there. I mean, he did tell me, he told his sons, I just wish we would have won in 17. And they said, well, Dad, if you would have done that, then you would have said we wish we would have won 3 or 4, or maybe I could catch Skip at 5. It's just kind of an endless, the more things you get, the more you want. So, I don't think there's any perfect way to go out. But I think that it had kind of come to look, this thing has gotten stale. We need to move on type thing. And that's not unique to Coach Mainieri. Same thing happened with Les Miles. Even Skip lost the Super Regional his last year to Tulane. So, it's hard to go on top. Nick Saban, the closest thing, I guess, and he was one play away from making the national championship game when they lost to Michigan a couple years back. So that's just the way life goes.
Yep. And to kind of flip the script to LSU football a little bit, the offseason has kind of been, at least the transfer portal section of the offseason has been wrapped up since the last time we spoke, and a lot of the discourse around Brian Kelly's program is the high expectations that are had going into 2025. What are your thoughts on the roster that's been put together, and where are your expectations standing on May 14th for the 2025 LSU football team?
I think 10-2 is a good place to start and a good expectation. That would cut your losses in half from a year ago when you went 8-4. I think it's great to start with Garrett Nussmeier. You want a veteran at quarterback. You want a guy who's played football. And they've got it in him. I think Garrett Nussmeier is a great kid. I think he's a great young man. He cares. He is not a player that was bought. He is not a hired gun. He loves LSU. He wants to do well for LSU. He's got a great upbringing. I think, as I told you, I saw his dad, Doug Nussmeier, at a press conference a little while back, and I told him, I said, look, I want you to know I see your son at church every week. And he said, yeah, you better see him. He better be going to church every week, So, he comes from a great upbringing. His dad's a coach, obviously. I don't think he gets too caught up in social media and, a lot of these superficial things that young athletes can get caught up in. So it starts with him. He needs to play better. He needs to throw a few less interceptions. They need to help him in the running game. They need to, LSU was very poorly ranked when it came to running the football. I don't know how well they've addressed that issue and how well they'll run the ball this year. I don't know a whole lot about naming who the offensive linemen are at the present time. I do know that Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Garrett Dellinger, and Miles Frazier all got drafted. So you're losing a lot on the offensive line. You got to replace a lot. And so that'll be interesting. Coach Kelly said this is his best roster, top to bottom. I think I've talked to a few LSU fans who say they are not going to Clemson. A few in my neighborhood, they said we have made all these big trips. We've gone to the Rose Bowl when Coach O was the coach and seen the UCLA game. We went to New Orleans for Florida State. We went to Orlando for Florida State. We went to Las Vegas for USC. We're not going to any more season openers until they win one. So, and it's always the thing that you're not doing that the fans want. For years I heard, we don't want to play UL Monroe. We don't want to play nobody state in the first game. We want a big team first game. Well, haven't been able to beat a big team. Now they're saying, we got to go to Clemson the first game. Why are we doing that? So that's just the way it goes. It's gonna be high pressure, high stakes. First game, 6:30 kickoff, national TV, hot as hell. August 30th, outdoors. So they got it. It's time to start 1-0. I think if they lose another season opener, that just really kind of deep fries your fan enthusiasm. The schedule is not rough. I mean, you got to go to Alabama, to Ole Miss. That's tough, but you still don't have Texas on there. You still don't have Georgia on there. Your home schedule is kind of meh, to be honest with you. But if they don't beat Clemson, they could easily lose to Florida early in the year. You got 2 losses, bang, bang, and you don't want that. So, SEC football media days will be in Atlanta this year. That'll be in, I think, July 11th, 14th, something like that. And I would imagine Coach Kelly would take Garrett Nussmeier again and 2 other players, and that'll really start your preseason hype and all those different things. Heading into the fall, as we call it, when it'll be 500 degrees at the beginning of August. We'll be out there, shooting our 15, 20 minutes of footage.
Yes, that's when we get in shape. But I saw you sat down with Kelly Zend, and you talked about the openers again, where you she's kind of on we love a big opener, but we do have to start winning them. And then you see the news get released that they also signed up for another opener with an SMU schedule. So did you kind of get that feeling going into that conversation that maybe she was prepping or kind of getting the message out there that we've already done this?
Well, I sent her a message. I said, you could have dropped that. You could have broken that news Friday, right? We could have. Exclusive. LSU plays SMU in 2028 and 29. I mean, those games, unless LSU plays a week 0, those will be season openers. And talking to Verge a couple of days ago, it was unclear if the game at SMU will be in the SMU stadium, which looks like Memorial Stadium on steroids, to be honest. I mean, it's a little horseshoe place. It said it seats 32,000. Somebody said 46. It's not
still
a
not
big
enough.
place. Yeah, not a big place. So, it used to be when they talk about these games, we want to get into Texas, and we play these games in Texas, and it helps our recruiting. I don't think that means anything, especially now in today's climate. But you are taking on a team that was in the playoff last year, won 11 games, so they're no pushover in recent times. So. So they're once again going for the that's a big opener. I guess maybe they're getting away from the neutral site thing, which I guess some fans got tired of. I know when I grew up in the late '80s, LSU would open up with Texas A&M when they were not in the SEC. You played Florida State, you played Miami, you played Ohio State, you played a lot of these big non-conference games at your place and their place. So maybe the neutral site thing is going away a little bit. But yeah, those will be, I guess, high pressure season openers to an extent, and they're still waiting to see if they're going to go from an 8-game to a 9-game SEC slate. And then with today's modern college football playoff with 12, and if they eventually go to 16, then why? I guess you could risk maybe playing a big game and losing it if 12, 16 teams are getting in. But then at the same time, why are we risking this when we've got to play 9 conference games?
Well, JD, great insight as always. It's good to see your face again. It's been too long. We appreciate you joining us this morning.
Yeah, no problem. Great being on with you guys. Check out redrockandblue.com. We're going to start our softball team registration soon. We've got the Catering Reunion tickets on sale right now. Catering Reunion 3. Allison Collins going to play. Blueverse, Amos Moses, Werewolf. So those 4 bands, August 9th, all proceeds to Louisiana Military Charities. So buy your table, buy your tickets right now. And as far as TV goes, I just watched Breaking Bad, gave it a second watch. One of the greatest TV shows in the history of television. I don't know how you guys feel about Breaking Bad, but it's like this show that you're on. Every guy on this show nails it, right? There's no weak link. So whether it's Hank Schrader, Walter White, whatever role's being played, it gets, it's precise and it's well done. So there you go.
Well, thank you very much, JD.
Yeah, I guess I'll be the wife, or I'll be the klepto.
You're the most hated character. You're Skylar White on the show.
Oh, let me go get in the pool and cause some drama. Your husband's a drug dealer. Get over it. This is the path we're going down now. Like, you got to get in the car.
I never understood that so many people hated Skylar White until I got online, and it's like, wow, he's just not dealing with the fact that her husband is a meth superpower. Right? Supposed to just roll with that.
You're supposed to be a nerd.
I am the one who knocks.
Yeah, let it start turn.
I am the danger, Skylar. I am the danger.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time once again, and we'll talk soon.
All right, guys. Thank y'all.
Thank you. The man himself, Jacques Doucet. Legend. Living legend. Shout out to him for joining us once again this week. We will take a quick break, reset, and we'll have Nick Underhill from New Orleans Football joining us here to close out hour number 2 on this Wednesday morning.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Click Here Digital, the home of the Jordy Culotta Show. Online at clickheredigital.com. If you're looking to set Google ads, set social media campaigns, learn about SEO, display video, or even creative, Click Here Digital has the answer for you. Online at clickheredigital.com or email me directly, Jordy at clickheredigital.com.
Family calls family. That saying resonates even more as your family grows. And we can't seem to stop growing. Meet the newest member of the Get Gordon family, Penny's cousin Rosie. Rosie already knows, the larger your family, the more people you have to lift you up during trying times. Just like at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, we've grown to over 200 team members with over 50 local attorneys. So whether you pick Penny, employ Ellie, roll with Rosie, or Get Gordon, we want to be your lawyers for life.
Your lawyers for life.
Phil's Oyster Bar, a staple of South Louisiana since 1945, located in Southdown Shopping Center and online at philsoysterbar.com. If you log online, you can learn about the private party schedule, the catering menu, and even order online. Daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Learn about the history when Gus Piazza took it over in the early 70s, made it an absolute stop-in for everyone who came through Baton Rouge, and now Anthony, his son, carrying on the tradition. Phil's Oyster Bar, Southdown Shopping Center, and online, philsoysterbar.com.
It's rare to find someone you can count on when it's go time. It's even more rare to find someone you can count on, well, all the time. At Sunshine, we're proud to offer the John Deere equipment you need and a team you can depend on and off the field. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Look in the eyes from my kids gave me motivation. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing.
All right, welcome back here. We are officially hitting the last 30 minutes
30-30
this
Club.
morning. The 30-30-30 Club. As always, we will never not be, whatever you want to, whatever we rename it, doesn't matter. In your hearts will always be the 30-30-30 Club. Appreciate you guys hanging out with this morning.
Happening right in front of you, and you didn't
right in
even
front
know
of your
it.
eyes. Yep. A little slow played it a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah, we were dropping nuggets and hints and doing all the, making it happen. We appreciate you guys' support. And we will have Nick Underhill of New Orleans Football join us soon to talk Saints here as we close it out on this Wednesday. As the Saints are all over the news wire after Derek Carr's retiring on, I think, Saturday morning was when the announcement was made. Nick's tweet was the first one that I saw when it was announced that Derek Carr was retiring from the National Football League. And we talked about it a little bit earlier, just some of the behind the scenes that could have happened. And I think the Saints schedule gets released today, as today is NFL schedule release day. So we'll find out what the Saints schedule looks like for 2025 later today. The Saints also signed Hunter Deckers, quarterback from Iowa State, to the roster recently. And a lot of moves being made for the New Orleans Saints, as we'll see what the outlook is, as the offseason has not been the calmest for New Orleans and everyone involved, the Saints are officially beginning a new era. You shook off the Dennis Allen deal. You've got Kellen Moore as your guy, and then you break away fully from that kind of Dennis Allen, Derek Carr era as Derek Carr retires, and the Saints get to go with their new guy at quarterback, which I believe will probably be Tyler Shuck, is the guy that they'll give the keys to, at least for this season. And you get the cap room, which this is the perfect opportunity for the Saints to finally get out of this cap room dungeon that they've been in for the last
for years.
Decade, where they've just been kind of restructuring deals and contracts and moving this around, that around, put this there, that here.
So much so that it had people going, "Does the cap even real?" Like it was always the Saints for the example of like, "Oh, you signed Taysom Hill to this $150 billion contract. Actually, none of this money's real."
Yeah, it's all fake money.
It's all fake money.
And finally, the Saints, it seems, are kind of out of that, or kind of breaking out of that mold and that prison that they've been in to the cap. Now that they had some cap room, and now they finally get off of this Derek Carr contract, which has been much maligned and been all over the biggest talking point, really, when talking about Derek Carr. As much as you want to talk about his play and this and that, the contract was what was the biggest talking point. But we are joined now to close out this morning's show with Nick Underhill from NewOrleans.football to talk Saints. Nick, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing good. Obviously, we'll start with the biggest news of them all. On Saturday morning, announcement was made that Derek Carr is retiring. What does that mean for the Saints? Obviously, more than just, kind of a fresh start at the quarterback spot, but into the cap room and all of that. Kind of what's next for the Saints after that?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, they're free. I mean, this is done now, and they can move forward. And I think it just feels better. I think it feels more hopeful than it ever has really around here. And they might end up being a really bad team. But if they are bad and you feel like you have some type of momentum, it really comes down to three spots. If Talifuaga's good, if Kelvin Banks is good, and if Shuck shows you anything, I think you could win 3-4 games and end the season and feel like you're on the right path. And if you aren't on the right path, you'll be in position to go and make another move. And I think that's kind of the beauty of drafting the guy, Tyler Shuck at 40. I don't think the commitment is so strong there that you are embedded into this in a way where it's like, well, if it doesn't work in year one, you have to try again in year two. I think you can go right back to the water and try again from there. But he's shown some good things. I think physically everything is there. He's 6'5". He moves really well. He throws a good football. He's got good velocity on his passes. He's got a good arm. He can throw from various platforms. He can throw on the move. He looks more athletic in one practice than we've seen at this position in a long time for the Saints. But it's all going to come down to when the live bullets start flying and when he's under pressure, and if he's able to stand in there and make the throws and not throw the ball away and not get into bad situations, which is what you saw happen at Louisville. So that's to be determined. We're going to see it in the games. But, for now, it feels like what happened with this Carr situation, to me, it felt like a 3-year eject. Like last year was kind of, all right, like they're going to start tearing down a little bit. They aren't really going to add to it. All the signings are going to be 1-year deals. They're going to be cap conscious. And this year there were two paths. It was you do a June 2nd cut with Derek Carr, which means you got to carry all the money on the books until June 2nd, which means there's no Justin Reed. There's no Juwan Johnson. There's no Chase Young. You probably aren't getting Cam Jordan to take a pay cut. You probably aren't getting Tyrann Mathieu to take a pay cut because those guys would want to leave. So, like, everything they did this offseason wouldn't have been possible because there would have been no cap space. Or there was option B. You restructure them. You keep them on the team for a year. You keep building your team. You do all these other things. And then a year from now, you get rid of them. Somehow they got A and B in the same package, which is unbelievable. They did the restructure, and now he's going to retire on June 2nd, and you're going to get all the cap benefit, $19 million dead this year, $31 million dead next year, instead of the whole thing being on your books until June 2nd, which is crazy to me because this was contentious. Like, it ended in a good way. It ended in a very amicable departure. I might have my tinfoil hat on, but I kind of feel like he's probably going to play football again. And I think it's probably agreed upon that when he's ready, they're just going to let his rights go and he's going to be able to go give back the $30 million. You go your way, we go our way, and everything's all good. I think that's probably what actually happened behind closed doors, but who cares? Like, I don't think anyone here is going to be pissed off if Derek Carr goes and plays football for the Jets or whoever, in August, a year from now, whatever it is. I think everyone's just going to be like, all right, man, good luck. Like, glad you're out of here. Like, go do your thing. I don't think it's going to be like the Sean Payton thing. Like, how could he go do this? I don't think anyone cares. Like, I think Derek goes and it's all good.
Yeah, I do tend to agree with you that what happened behind closed doors is probably not the story that we were sold, because it would have been the first time it felt like any good business had been done on both sides. It felt, like you said, very contentious. So is there a reason to like even dig any more into that, as if it would have been a he said, she said, where if Derek Carr didn't retire in this manner, then the Saints would have pursued legal action?
I think that's probably what would have happened. I mean, I the whole time I kind of felt like everybody was playing it quiet because they wanted to figure it out, and nobody wanted to say anything that kind of sparked a high level feud. It just felt very careful. Even the release, if you read it, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I even thought the wording in that was kind of wild. It just felt like very here it is. Eventually, medical scans determined objectively that Derek sustained a labral tear and also had significant whatever. Like, objectively concluded. Like, I've never seen phrasing like that in a release. It just felt like
very legal,
very much like that, and like very much a PR move. Like, okay, hey, look, we're gonna do this, but you have to make sure nobody, like, you have to come out and say nobody was lying about anything. Everything was on the up and up, all that. Like, and look, I think Derek did get scans, and he probably does have an injury. He's been playing football for a long time. He's injured that shoulder multiple times. I still think in the end and I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying my personal feeling as I sit here as a sane and hopefully sane and logical human is that like, this still does not look right and normal. Like, it still looks like something was a little bit off. And if he injured his right shoulder diving in the last game he played and then doesn't go out and throw again in March, that alone to me doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me that there was a report that he was able to throw a lighter ball in practice. Okay, fine. Like, you could do that. You could do that. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. But okay, you tried to throw a ball. Let's say he tried to do that, and it didn't work, and it hurt. So you waited 3 months to go test your shoulder again? Like, when I have a cavity, like, I'm putting my tongue in it, like, all day long to see if it still hurts. You know what I mean? Like, like, everybody does that. Like, oh, man, I sprained my ankle. Let me test it out today. Like, oh, no, it's not okay. Like, you're an NFL quarterback and you hurt your shoulder and you wait 3 months. Like, maybe you did. Maybe you just wanted to get away from the game. Maybe it's all true. But like, I think is we all sit here today. It's just like, wow, that's a peculiar way to handle that. Like, I just, he might have done it that way. I'm not calling him a liar. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying, I think it's fair and logical to be like, damn, like, that's really how this played out.
Yeah,
that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Just really give up the game when I'm not playing it. Like, nah, not interested.
Yeah.
I mean, he's dead. Yeah. Dan Orlovsky said this yesterday. He's like, you have 3 sons. You didn't go throw the ball around one time. Like,
yeah,
bad dad.
Dude, like, but when I get COVID before, like, I've had it like 80 times now. Like, when I first get it, I'm like, oh shit, like, I got the thing, the 2 lines come up, and like, I'm like, can I still smell? Okay, I can still smell. And like, I'm testing it, like, hey, yeah, that smells right. I got that. And then like, when you lose your smell, like, I'm sniffing like sticks of deodorant, like put my nose in the Febreze thing, like, yeah, just to see if it works. Like, just, man, okay, I got nothing here. Damn, it's still gone. Like, I'm not waiting. Like, well, I guess I'll see. It's like, I'm worried about it. Yeah, like I'm worried about it all day long. It doesn't. So it's just I don't know. That's how I operate. I don't know if the way I operate is the same as everybody else. But like when something's wrong, I'm like, oh man, let me see.
When will it be better?
Yeah, no, I mean that's a good point. What was your level of surprise when you heard that this was the end of the saga? Like this was how it was ending. How surprised were you?
Yeah, I was super surprised. Actually, I got a text that morning at like 6:18 in the morning, and like immediately I woke everybody up that worked for me. I'm sure they were all very happy about that. I'm like, yo, I think this is going down today. Like I didn't know it was retirement. I thought they were going to cut him. I actually heard on, I think it was like Monday or Tuesday, and the thing happened on Saturday. Monday, Tuesday, I thought it was going to happen. We like wrote our stories, like we're all ready. I thought he was going to get cut then, and then it didn't happen. And then Saturday morning, I got a text like antenna up, 6:18 in the morning. I wake everybody up. Like we're all trying to work on it. I didn't think it was going to break though until after practice because they had rookie camp that day. I was like, well, there's no way this is going to come out until like 2:00. And then I don't know what time it was, about like 9:30. Someone called me and they're like, yo, you like go with it. It's good. It's like break it. So like we broke the story about 9:30. But I was shocked. Like I was sitting there like, oh my God, like he's retiring. We had heard retirement like once, like a month ago. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was just like posturing, like, he's going to try to threaten retirement, like as in either you're going to like let me go or I'm going to retire and all this money's going to hit your books. Like, you know, I thought it was a posturing thing. I didn't think it was like a real possibility. And then to find out like he gave the $30 million back, that's the craziest part of this, because if you got hurt diving like that, like you're entitled to that money. Like that is a football injury sustained on the field. That is your money. Your career has been interrupted. It's guaranteed. Giving that back is wild. Like that is a wild thing to do. He could have pressed this as far as he wanted. Maybe you win, maybe you don't. But like there was $30 million on the line, and just to walk away from it. Feel however you want about him, feel like whatever, he did him a solid, even if it was just to like not have to go through a process, not to have this hanging over everything. Like that is a clean eject.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes me think he's going to play again, because if it would have been this back and forth affair between the Saints and it was when did you get hurt, how did you get hurt, like that hurts his credibility if he wants to play again. Instead, it's a clean retirement, then the comeback tour is on, and people are like, oh, he did the right thing. Look how much he works with the team. Look how good this went. Like, and that immediately helps him in the PR for whatever team he goes to next.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think that's the settlement here is that like if Derek wants to play again, I'm not saying he is. I think, you know, again, this is just looking at it like a logical person. I don't know anything, but to me, it would feel like the settlement here is, okay, if Derek wants to play again, just you got to relinquish his rights and we'll give back this $30 million and everybody walks away. And I'm sure like that's a great resolution. You got the benefit of having the money for the off season. He goes away. You know, they really did want to keep him. They really did want him to be their quarterback this year. Kellen Moore really did like envision this season with him as the quarterback. That really was the plan. But it works. You know, I think it works out great. Like like I said, I thought it was a 3-year thing, and like it accelerates year 2 to year 3 like together. You know, so I think they're in a great place. I'm happy that they're rebuilding this thing. I think the whole thing kind of got forced a little bit. I don't think any of this was done like willingly. You know, firing DA isn't what they wanted to do. Getting rid of the quarterback isn't what they wanted to do. Both those things end up happening, and it just feels like it feels like a fresh start. Kellen Moore, Tyler Shuck, no baggage. Really feels like this is the first year of like a brand new identity since Sean left, and you know, I think it's very badly needed, and I think the fans are ready for it too. Like I think they're ready to sit through a 4-win season, and I think they'll be happier about 4 than they would 7 or 8 with Derek.
It's unbelievable how Mickey Loomis stumbles into exactly what everybody wanted him to do, and it just happened by happenstance. Like none of this was him making decisions on, like he didn't want to fire DA, he wanted to bring back Derek Carr. And then neither of those things happened. And the Saints fan base is like, oh, thank God, they're making all the right moves again. And it's like, this just happened. It fell right in his lap.
Yeah.
And when you
there's an argument though. Like I don't think it was illogical to restructure them and be like, hey, look, like we're gonna do this in a 2-year process. Like you can't really getting out of it right now is was kind of Would have been like it's you're losing your ability to do anything, and you're letting everything kind of crumble into place, and then you get rid of Derek, and then you don't have any money to do anything at all. You don't you can't support your quarterback at all. Like, you aren't even able to bring in like Donovan Peoples-Jones probably. Like, you're just so hamstrung by everything. So I always thought like a 2-year release, like sort of like how Denver did it with Russell, was the thing that was going to end up making the most sense. But I don't think they were planning on keeping Derek beyond this season. I think this was the last. This was like, okay, gonna have him here, gonna go through this season, and then a year from now he's gone. I think that was it, and I think very obviously that's why Derek was freaking out, is he knew it too. I think he was very much aware that he was on a lame duck 1-year deal, and that's why he was pressing so hard to get out of here, because he knew he was finished, and that people coming in looked at him as a temporary situation. They weren't really going to care about building it around him or doing what's right by him. It was just a means to an end. But yeah, I mean, look, this is a circumstance, not a plan. This is a circumstance, not a plan, and it worked out great. They got backed into a corner. I will give them a lot of credit, because they could have panicked. They could have reacted to the noise. They could have done a lot of different things in this situation, and they just kind of said, you know what, just gonna stand there and stare you down, and is gonna fold. And Mickey won this standoff. I mean, there's no doubt about it, and I will give him credit for that. It wasn't a planned standoff. It was, a gun was kind of pointed at him, and he managed to be the one to win that home invasion, really. And credit to him. I mean, he got this one done somehow. I don't know how he did it. He pulled a rabbit out of the hat, though, no doubt.
Go ahead, shoot.
Because it looked bad. It looked bad, right? Like,
it did.
Yeah, it looked like Derek was leaving town with $30 million, and he was never going to play quarterback again. And I think the last time, 2 weeks ago, I was on here, I was like, just let him go, give him the money. Who cares? Like, just get him out of here. Like, get this guy. Like, if I was running the team, I would have made the bad decision of being like F it, give him the $30 million, get him out of here. Like, screw this guy. I would have folded. I would have folded. 100%. Yes. I would have got Gail Benson robbed. Gail Benson would have got robbed of $30 million if I was the GM, no doubt about it.
Like Derek had the Saints in his back pocket. Like, he was fully in control of the situation.
Yes.
And it just got flipped on its head in like a second.
The hostage.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Drop the gun.
No doubt. Like, I there's no way I would have won that. I would have not got the $30 million. I would have been so frustrated. Like, you know what? He's out of here. Like, I don't care. Take the money. Just go. Be gone. I don't ever want to see you again. Get out of town. Leave town. Like, that would have been me.
I absolutely negotiate with terrorists. Like, here, take it.
Sit back and watch this drive.
Yeah, watch this drive.
What are your, obviously, moving away from Carr, it's Tyler Shuck's team now. It seems he'll be the guy. He's done all the right things. He's been pressing all the right buttons. He's going and eating at Drago's and taking the picture. He's got Lil Wayne on every Instagram post. He's doing the whole deal. He's nailing the PR standpoint up to this point, right?
Oh, no question about it. Yeah, no, he's good. He's doing everything right. I like him. We met him last week. The age I think is a benefit. You guys are around college age people all the time. Like, 21-year-olds are idiots. Like, 25-year-olds are a little bit, you're probably still an idiot, but like, you're aware of that you're an idiot, and you're trying not to be an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, there's like a significant maturity difference, like between 20, 21 and 25, 26. Like, there just is. And him coming in, you see it, you feel it, talking to him. He just feels like he carries himself like a more adult person. And, I think that's good. I think it's a good thing. I think it makes him a little bit, ready to handle this situation, take it in stride. I don't think it's your typical, the weight of the world on a 21-year-old versus the weight of a whole team on a 25-year-old. I think it's a little bit different, even though they're both only been in the NFL for 2 weeks. But I think just mentally, maturity, all that stuff, I think he's ready to handle his station in life in a way that maybe a younger guy wouldn't. So that's good. The off the field, all that. Look, I like that he's smart enough to game plan everything. If he's smart enough to game plan the song on an IG post, he's going to be smart enough to game plan for the Arizona Cardinals when they play them. Like, it's smart. It's just a smart way to do things. Just knowing the situation, knowing what you got to do. Reading Derek Carr's mistakes in the media and doing the opposite, like, that's smart. Like, it's just a guy that's thought about everything. So, I like him. I like how he's carrying himself, and I like how he's coming into the situation.
And when you mentioned the age as that being a benefit, even that, it does sound like it is, and it's going to be, because you've seen older quarterbacks come into the league and have success right away. But do you think that they still are looking at a position of maybe they get a veteran quarterback to kind of lead him through this gauntlet of a rookie year? Because if you have somebody that wants to kind of show you how it's done or have somebody in that room, it can only be a benefit.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's kind of something that I would look at. I don't think it's a must because there's a weird amount of quarterback experience on. Kellen Moore is young and he was an NFL quarterback. They got Tolzien and he's a quarterback. Nussmeier, quarterback. There's a lot of guys on the staff that have played the position that you can learn from. But I do think it's different. Those are the bosses. I think it's different when you can turn to a coworker and maybe ask them a question and not feel. Yeah, just naturally you feel judged when you go to your boss and ask him questions. You carry yourself different when the suits are on. It's just the way it is. So yeah, I would look into it. I kind of feel like it's something that they need to do. Not a must,
Teddy Bridgewater.
I think Teddy's getting ready to win that state title again. He's recruiting, but maybe in December. But I do think no matter everything they do from this point forward should be about developing Tyler Shuck. And if you feel like he's the future of your team and you drafted him at 40, so you feel like he's at least got a better shot at that than anybody else, I think every single thing you do for your organization for the rest of this year should be about trying to make sure it works with him. And if that means trading someone to get him the perfect backup, if it means trading someone to get, a wide receiver, spending money to get one, whatever it is, I think you put his development over the development of the offensive line. I've made this argument that, I think long term, obviously Banks left, Fuaga right, natural positions are the best things for him. And you want to get him to those spots as quickly as possible. But I think for this year, if Trevor Penning's one of your best five, you're willing to put him out there and put Banks somewhere else and Fuaga somewhere else just to make sure that Shuck has the cleanest possible because that's going to be the thing that helps him develop and succeed in the short term. So everything you do, I think, needs to be putting him first above everybody else because nothing is more important than figuring out how you win with the quarterback.
If Shuck doesn't go at 42, the Saints, where do you think he gets drafted?
I think quickly after. I mean, look, I know Mel Kiper and everybody else had different rankings.
I think we know where Mel stands.
Yeah, I had heard very, very early on, like early March, that Shuck was the guy they wanted, that they were moving toward him, that he was their quarterback, and then from there, I start, that's just kind of what we do. Like I'm reaching out to other teams, finding out what do you think of him, where's he going to go, and I thought he was going to go the end of the first round. A lot of wacky stuff happened in the first round. He ends up going 40. I think it's very, very, very likely he's gone within the next 10 picks, and somebody probably trades up to get him in that range. But look, I might be wrong. I might not know, but we were the guys that said Shuck and Hunter Deckers, and
fair enough.
To look it up.
Check the tapes. But we appreciate your time and your insight as always. Great stuff. You do look like there's a weight lifted off your shoulders, a little bit of relief. The way this is all played out.
It's more. Yeah. Well, I don't have this thing swinging over my head that could drop any moment. Okay, I can go to the grocery store and no one's gonna be like, "Hey, Derek's gone," and you got to
check it out at Rouse's.
Yeah, look, I've ran out, and if you're gonna grocery shop, make sure you go to Rouse's. I've ran out on carts in stores though, middle of the store, ice cream in it, whatever. Gotta go. Don't have time to check out. Gotta go hit this. Walk out of movies. Walk out of dinners. Yeah, man, something happens, you got to go. It's the surgery call. And I mean, it's just great not having that hanging over your head, A, and B, it's just not been a fun atmosphere at all. It's just kind of been a rough, ugly atmosphere. When the fans are unhappy, that makes doing this a lot less fun. Mm-hmm. You kind of want to talk about possibility and hope instead of despair and destruction and survival. And this might end up being very, very, very horrible. It might end up being way worse. It might be extremely hopeless by Halloween. But for now, there's just hope and possibility. It's the unopened Christmas present. And, the gift you got might suck, but somebody might have actually paid attention and got you the right thing. And until that box is unwrapped, it's just excitement. So I'm excited to see what it is. So definitely way more fun talking about the team in this than the opposite.
Definitely. Well, you're doing great work as always, killing it. We appreciate your time. We'll talk again soon.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. It's funny, the happiness is there. Like, not even just for him, like the social media, like everything around the Saints, the PR and the discourse around it flipped turned on a dime.
It was like when your buddy gets a girlfriend and like you meet her, like she stinks, dude, and he won't stop dating her. Like nobody likes her. Yes. How do you like her?
Amen.
And now she's gone.
Yeah.
Fell off a cliff, died on impact. Like, oh, I hate that for you. Thank God.
Sorry.
Clean slate for you. Let's try this again.
I mean, it's definitely a much more enjoyable atmosphere for the Saints, and Nick is absolutely killing it, crushing it. I mean, this is a guy that's going to leave his shopping cart in the middle of Rouse's.
If you get your groceries, get it at Rouse's.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was also leaving us little, like he was trying to tell us without telling us. Like he threw Tyler Shuck in that draft. We were like going through the rankings, like F pick, help with Shuck, and he was like, it's got
a feeling.
Sometimes you feel like they take a quarterback, so I threw him in there. It's like, oh, you bastard, you knew since March.
You knew it the whole time.
So,
they're gonna go Shuck and Deckers. Well, how about that? What happened?
Subscribe to New Orleans Football.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe to New Orleans Football. That's the best in the business right there. We appreciate him joining us this morning. We'll close it out here with some of these games. P-Dub wants a Sporkle. Obviously, we'll do the athletic connections first. We'll get that knocked out. We do that every single morning here on Tingle & Co.
Tingle & Co.
Tingle & Co. You see that link tree at the top of the chat. Make sure you click that if you have not already. Go subscribe and follow. The subscriber count went up 5 just in the span of us putting that link up there. So we appreciate you guys going on this ride with us. We might even go watch party on the new channel.
Yeah,
might as well just throw it up on there. So make sure you're ready for the content that's coming out over there, which could possibly include the watch party tomorrow night. Let's get connected. Let's connect with our athleticism. Let's connect here.
Let's connect athletically.
You trying to connect?
Connect for
BB following on Facebook now. Appreciate you getting some of that LSU algorithm, that LSU football, all the real breakdown. LSU Sports with Justin Babin.
That's right.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, I'm going to record it today.
Yeah.
We got here a little rally time. Okay, all right.
Butler.
Got a lot of names.
Instruct.
What? I feel like Butler might be
manage.
A last name.
I thought it was assist.
Yeah, don't think those 4 go together.
I'm going to do it.
No, that's maybe not.
There's a Jimmy Butler. There's a Jimmy Rollins.
There's a
Jimmy Graham.
And a Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy! And then I feel like we've got...
All Jimmies. We got some Joes in there. Jimmys and Joes.
Philadelphia athletes. We got Bryce Harper, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, and Tyrese Maxey. Might be on the trade block. Go get them, pals. And then we've got...
Bryce Harper can't play basketball.
No, I was talking about Saquon Barkley.
Actually, I bet Bryce Harper probably pretty good.
Yeah. Let's see.
Assist, instruct, manage, coach.
There you go. Or no. Assist, fielding percentage, put out, error.
Damn it.
Those are all things that you can put on the baseball scorecard.
I think you do in the field.
Fielding stats. Coach, instruct, manage and drill.
Drill them.
Can y'all dual stream? Yeah, we might get into that business here soon. We just have to we got to make sure we're all good to go on that other channel to go live and such. So we'll make sure you guys are informed. As always, we try to keep you guys up to date on everything that's happening. We had some meetings with some new talent and new faces.
You'll meet some new faces at the old watch party.
Yeah, there should be some new guys that show up, pop in. We're trying to grow the content that comes out outside of 7 to 9, so we're adding some different personalities,
some flava,
and put some different people in different spots to bring some more content to all of your beautiful faces.
Yes.
Appreciate you guys joining us this morning. Do you want to do any other games, or are we going to close this John out?
We have to go to the Guitar Center.
Oh, we do. We have to buy equipment. That's for sure. So we appreciate you guys this morning. As always, we will make sure you hit that link, share that link, send that link to your friends, your family, your coworkers, your everything. Make sure everybody's subscribed and following.
Get a link.
Do what?
I'm gonna link.
Stop cloning, start linking.
I got a raging link.
We'll be back tomorrow, 7 to 9, here on Tingle and Co.
No, it would break it.
Let's go. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Compete with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it. Let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co. What up, Lord? What up, Lord? You can call me him. I'm